Hey, what's up guys, Patrick, and this is my Fight Caves guide. Please watch the whole video before attempting this. I'm going to start off with stats. I recommend a minimum of 70 plus magic, 70 plus defense, and 43 plus prayer. Now for the setup. This is probably the lowest level stuff you can get away with. I have an arm's hood, arm's top, arm's skirt, batwing gloves, batwing boots, a skill cape, amulet of glory, and a seer's ring. As for the weapon, I'm using an arm's staff. I have made quite a few guides like this before, and the one thing I noticed is that you guys always get overly strung up on the setup. Like, I would get questions asking me whether or not a certain staff is better, as if using the worst of the two is going to get you killed. I can promise you, it's not. You should be fine with any level 70 plus gear. If you really want to know whether something is better, just hover your mouse over the items and compare the numbers. That's all you have to do. Although sometimes it's a bit more complicated than that, because I also know that some of you may be wondering whether it's better to use a wand and book or a staff. Use whichever one you like, because think about it this way. If you like using a wand and book, why would you use a staff? You're most likely better at using wand and book abilities, so even if the staff is better, it doesn't mean it's going to be better if you're using it. Anyways, moving on to the inventory setup. I have two supersets for magic, prayer renewals, super stores, air runes, water runes, and the best food I could use, which is rocktails. Most of the monsters in fight caves are weak to water spells, so you should use the best water spell you can. Whether you want to use the regular spellbook or ice spells from the ancient spellbook, that's completely up to you. Ancient is better, but in my opinion, it's a waste of money, so yeah, it's up to you. I'm only using two super restore potions here because I am only using protection prayers. If you're going to use stuff like Soul Split, Torment, or Augury, you may need somewhere closer to 4 to 6 super stores. I'll get more into that later. Keep in mind, everything I recommend here is merely a guideline. If you have better alternatives, such as overloads instead of a superset, you should definitely use that instead. I generally don't like going over abilities, even in my guides having to do with combat, because I believe you do better if you use the abilities you normally use, because those are the ones you're used to and you know how to use them. But I wanted to recommend Guthix's Blessing and Rejuvenate. They're both ultimate abilities, which means they require and use up 100% adrenaline, and when you use them, they restore about 40% of your HP. They have a 5-minute recharge time, they heal more than regenerate, and you can use them during combat. These abilities are basically the same thing, they just have different requirements. Guthix's Blessing requires the completion of the World Wakes quest and 85 Constitution. Rejuvenate requires 52 defense and a shield. So if you don't meet the requirement for Guthix's Blessing, you should give up a piece of food and bring a shield for Rejuvenate. To get to the fight caves, go to the area marked here on this map. Now I'm going to give you some information on the monsters you encounter. I'll also give each of them a nickname because it's easier to pronounce and memorize. The nicknames are based on what they look like or what they do. The first monster you encounter are the bats. They attack using melee, and I recommend killing these first regardless of what wave you're on, because even though they're the weakest, for each attack they do, they drain your prayer. It doesn't even matter whether or not they're damaging you, they could probably drain your prayer faster than if you had all your prayers on at once. I may be exaggerating, but the point is it's still pretty fast. The second monster you encounter starting at wave 3 are the blobs. These are least your concern out of all the monsters in here. The only thing you need to know about them is that they use melee attacks, and when you kill it, it splits into 2. Then you have to kill the 2 for it to be officially dead. The third monster you encounter starting at wave 7 are the rangers. He doesn't do anything special, but he's fairly strong. It's probably best to kill these guys third because range is your weakness. The fourth monster you encounter are the meleeers, starting at wave 15. These guys are stronger than the rangers, and they can heal everything including themselves, so I recommend killing these guys second after the bats. If you kill them fast enough, you don't have to worry about the healing. The fifth monster you encounter starting from wave 31 are the mages. This is where you have to start using some prayer if you haven't already. You should keep Protect from Magic on all the way from wave 31 to 62, because mages spawn in all those waves. The only thing significant about these guys is that they're the strongest monsters before Jad. As long as you keep Protect from Magic on, you can kill these guys second to last, because Protect from Magic prevents most of the damage. Last time I made this guide, a lot of people had problems with these guys because they're getting hit for a lot, even with Protect from Magic on. If you're getting hit a lot higher than I'm getting hit in the video, that's a glitch, and there's no special fix for it. You just have to wait for Jax to do something about it. So I know it was kind of confusing when I was saying you should kill this first and this last because it was out of order. I was originally showing you the monsters in the order that you encounter them, but now I'm going to show you the order that you should kill them in. Kill the bats first because they can drain your prayer, kill the meleeers second because they can heal things, kill the rangers third because of your weakness. The mages are the strongest monsters besides Jad, but it's not as bad as you keep Protect from Magic on, which is why you can kill them fourth or second to last, and finally kill the blobs last because they're basically useless. You don't have to strictly follow this order. If something else seems more convenient for you, then go ahead and do that. Like, for example, the bats can only drain your prayer if they're attacking you. If they happen to get stuck behind something, there's no reason to go out of your way to kill it. As for what prayer you should use, if you have a 92 plus prayer, you should use Curse for Soul Split. Otherwise, use the regular prayer book. You can use stat boosting prayers such as Torment or Armory if you want to, but it's not necessary. You can also use protection prayers against the rangers or meleeers, but that's also not necessary. The only prayers that you do need are the protection prayers for the mages and Jad. The more prayers you plan on using, the more super restore you should bring. You should also bring more of your prayer levels low. I really don't think you need more than 6, but if you find yourself running short, just turn off some prayers and use them more conservatively. There are quite a few waves where you encounter both the meleeers and the mages, but of course you only can choose to protect against one of them. If you find yourself having a hard time with that, I'm going to show you something we call the Italy rock. There's a rock that's kind of shaped like the country Italy, which is why it's called that. But in reality, you can use any rock for this. The point of the rock is to get the meleeers stuck on it so you can attack it, but it can't attack you. If you're doing it this way, you can kill the meleeers as close to last as possible since they can't really hurt you. But keep in mind your attacks can only reach so far, and sometimes the other monsters are too far away because they get trapped behind the melee or something, so logically you need to kill the meleeer in those situations first to get it out of the way. There are a total of 63 ways in fight caves, which sounds like a lot because it is, and is also very easy to know what is actually going to spawn the next wave because there's a pattern, which is why this isn't a wave by wave guide. I'm not going to go over all 63 because I'm hoping to catch this pattern within like the first 8. So in wave 1 there's 1 bat, in wave 2 there's 2 bats, in wave 3 there's 1 blob, in wave 4 there's 1 blob and 1 bat, in wave 5 there's 1 blob and 2 bats, in wave 6 there's 2 blobs, in wave 7 there's 1 ranger, in wave 8 there's 1 ranger and 1 bat. Hopefully you see the pattern. If not, and you actually need it laid out for you, I'll put something in the description giving you everything wave by wave. I mentioned very briefly earlier that fight caves takes about an hour to an hour and a half, so it's a good thing to know there's actually a way to pause the fight caves in case you need to leave. Pausing doesn't mean you can leave to get more supplies, it's just saving your progress so you can log out. Click the option to log out one time, and you should get a message in your chat box. Finish the wave, and it should automatically log you out. When you log back in, you'll start the next wave. Absolutely do not log out on the Jad wave because you're probably going to get ambushed by him and die. Speaking of Jad though, that's the last thing we're going to talk about in this video. First off, let's go over the attacks. He can use range, magic, and melee. You don't need to worry about the melee attacks as long as you keep your distance. The beginning of both attacks look almost the same, so don't prayer switch immediately. Both times Jad will raise his front legs a bit. The difference is, for the range attack, he'll bring them back down quickly and create a ripple effect through the ground, and when he brings them down, that's when you want to switch to range. For the magic attack, he'll raise himself up until he's standing on his hind legs, and he'll spit a fireball at you. When his gut is basically exposed, that's when you want to switch to magic. Now that you know his attacks, you need to know how to prepare for him. Jad will come at wave 63, but you need to start preparing at wave 62. At wave 62, head over to this rock thing in the southwestern corner, get inside this gap, and this is where you want to stand at the beginning of the Jad wave. This is the only part of the fight caves where it matters where you stand. Kill the 2 mages, point the camera south, have your prayers open, and be ready to prayer switch. Jad has a few spawns. Most of the spawns will cause them to get stuck on the rock, but unfortunately there's a spawn behind you, which is why you need to point your camera that way. If it ends up behind you, be prepared to prayer switch, and as soon as you switch, run around to the other side of the rock. You may need to switch one more time as you're running. Once you're safe, take a breather, heal up, pot up, and when you're ready, go out and attack Jad. When Jad gets down to half HP, healers will spawn. They'll bring Jad back up to full HP, but that's okay, don't worry about that right now. Stop attacking Jad, keep prayer switching, and after each time Jad does an attack, attack healers so he starts attacking you. Absolutely do not kill the healers though. Once all 4 healers are on you, keep them a fair distance away from Jad, so they don't keep healing him. As long as the healers are alive, attacking you, and not too close to Jad, they can't spawn or heal Jad anymore. All you have to do at this point is to prayer switch and kill Jad. Once you kill Jad, you'll get your fire cape and about 16k tokens. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys found this video helpful and now feel competent enough to do this. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.